The first video I ever recorded and published on this channel was this one. Why you should play Dungeons & Dragons in 2020. It was a little scuffed, a little more cringe, and came with way too much eye contact. But now we are in 2021 and a lot has changed. I asked 8 Dungeons & Dragons players to compete in the ultimate Dungeons & Dragons debate competition, and over the past couple weeks you have seen as each competitor has gotten eliminated, leaving only our finalists. JoCat and No Man have proven why they deserve to be in the finalist bracket of the competition. So I figured rather than rehash the same topic I did for the very first video on this channel, why not ask both of our finalists why we should be playing D&D in 2021. In case you might have missed it, I will leave a playlist to all of the other D&D debates up in the corner right here where you can see all of the previous rounds plus an explanation of the rules. It will also be linked in the description down below. But I asked No Man and JoCat to give a 3-minute speech on why all of us should be playing Dungeons & Dragons in 2021, and this was the result. So when you're done watching this video, be sure to leave it a like, subscribe if you have not. Let me know who you think gave the better speech, and also why you think we should all be playing D&D in 2021. So without any further delay, I present to you the final round of the Master Debater Dungeons & Dragons edition. We need to move on to our final round, and this is going to be between Gnome Ann and JoCat to decide who is going to win the Master Debater Season 2 Episode 7 Dungeons & Dragons edition, and who will be invited back for the Season 2 Grand Finals with an actual cash prize on the line. The first video I ever released on my D&D channel was called Why You Should Be Playing Dungeons & Dragons in 2020. First video I ever made. Really cringe, really terrible, but it gave me the idea. I want both of you to give me a 3-minute speech separately, not knowing what the other person is saying, on why a newcomer should come in to play the game of Dungeons & Dragons. Why should people come in and play this amazing game that we all know and love? So here's what I'm going to do. The first person who decides to go first, I'm going to move the second person out into the waiting room, so you can't hear what they're saying. So there's no like, oh yeah, I'm going to do this. Basically, this is your chance for 3 minutes on public speaking on why D&D, why on you're introducing somebody to the game, why should they play it? And with that, somebody call a coin flip.
I guess I'll call heads.
All right, it is tails.
Sorry, I'm just busy stress sweating. Oh God.
It is tails. So Gnome Ann, would you like to go first or would you like to go second? In this
Okay,
case, you will
all
have
of the coin tosses.
All right, well, in this case, you will have 3 minutes flat to give your statement. And then we'll move on to JoCat, and then we're just going to vote off of that.
All right, I will go second.
All right. So Gnome Ann, honor system, I'm going to move you into the waiting room, so you can't hear what JoCat is going to be saying. Do not listen to the stream. And then once JoCat is done speaking, I will bring you back in, and then you can give your 3 minutes, and then you can just stay in your JoCat at that point because you're not going to be able to do anything after that. Okay. But so Gnome Ann, I'll see you in a couple minutes. You have 3 minutes. Why should people play Dungeons & Dragons? Your time begins now.
As we grow older and become adults and have life come into just our lives and planning, and things get in the way, it's getting more and more difficult to connect with people, to spend time with friends and family. And D&D is one of the best excuses to do one of those things, where we can just play a game, play pretend, so use our imagination, something that's inherently taught to us as children that we use, but starts to kind of die off as we get older. We use our imagination less and less as, you know, we're bogged down with the heavy responsibilities of life, but D&D allows us that escape, the same escape that movies, books, and video games allow, but we get to play out those moments, use our imaginations, and be whatever we want, do whatever we want in this world that is in our minds, that we don't have to worry about the long-term consequences of the world being destroyed, or, you know, a corrupt politician running an evil country. And it gives us that fantasy to be able to make the world better, or the fantasy to go do something stupid and funny that we normally wouldn't be able to do in normal life, like go on a streak, or I don't know, bang a hot demon person, or just like riding a dragon and flying through the sky, or riding a dragon. It allows us to use our imagination, just perform all these fantasies, and it allows us to use our brain and develop more practical skills as well. Skills like using our imagination, creativity, improv. I have become such a confident and more skilled speaker since I started playing D&D, and my ability to think on the fly as a result of being a DM, being a player, and thinking on the fly, trying to make sure that I heal that person, or thinking the tactics that I have to do to fight this orc tribe, or making hard decisions in this game that can only be presented with a improv scenario with a DM and a player that most video games can't even fit now. And just thinking about how that affects other people working as a team or just working one-on-one. There's so many things that D&D can allow you to do that it's insane. And I know several people who have developed more skills as a result. I have a friend who had no interest in cartography, now makes maps and commissions and does Patreon making maps for D&D. I have been drawing more than I ever could because I'm or more than I ever wanted to, because I'm drawing my D&D characters. I'm doing commissions for D&D for other people. And it's just a fantastic outlet for you to be creative and interact with people. And best of all, just the amazing stories that people share about D&D. Everyone plays D&D different. Everyone has a different game. And that means everyone has a different, unique story and interesting thing that means a lot to them. And it's always fun to hear about people talking about those stories, about how they felled this dragon at the last moment, they rolled a nat 20, or how somebody needed one last thing and they rolled a nat 1 and everything went to shambles and now that world's destroyed, and how that affects future campaigns. D&D is amazing and I love it. I yield my time.
Yield that 0.001 seconds. All right, fantastic. Let's put you back in here. We're gonna bring in Gnome Ann. You can stay here because that's gonna be it for your time anyway. But welcome back, Gnome Ann. So
Hi.
JoCat gave his speech. It's your turn. You have 3 minutes on the clock. Why should people play D&D? Your time begins now.
Ladies, gentlemen, and friends beyond the binary, you should play Dungeons and Dragons. And I was gonna come in with a full meme argument, but honestly, when I was writing notes, it got really personal. So here we go. As a grown-up in the world that is mostly a dumpster fire, we've all been programmed to not play pretend, to not have fun. It's really frowned upon as childish behavior. And yet here now we've carved out a little area where that is lauded as a skill, where it's an actual, like, I was invited on this show today because I play Dungeons and Dragons. We've moved past the time of the stigmatization around nerd, and now it's instead giving people a chance to get back to that place of just fun and just imagination. The imagination's a muscle, and it's something that needs to be flexed like every other muscle. Similarly, Dungeons and Dragons builds connections in a way I've never seen any other game do. The amount of diversity of ages, of backgrounds people come from, they come and play. And for a lot of us, having social awkwardness of talking to a stranger, especially if you know literally nothing about them, I personally feel really uncomfortable with that sometimes. But you tell me I'm a horny paladin and I'm like, what's up, bitches? Like instantly it moves through all that awkwardness. It's like White Claw for your soul. Similarly, it develops your personal skills. So there's a joke that like it's character building. Get it? Because you build characters. But no, really it is because you can do team buildings, you learn communication skills, you learn all these really realistic skills in addition to that. But it also creates a sandbox for sort of low stakes personal development where you can take risks and behave ways you wouldn't normally do. Like, are you super uncomfortable flirting? Well, here's a space where you can do it, like literally no consequences. Do you have problems expressing your aggression? Hey, have you considered rolling a barbarian? You can be who you want to be and try that out for size. Also, just another self-conscious thing. I don't know why I'm so oversharing, but I used to write novels, and I used to get very, very anxious about it and editing, and would feel so uncomfortable being able to share that. This has created a platform for me where I can make believe on the spot, where I can have a constructive narrative built with my friends, where it's not just me trying to impress people with my creativity, but it's something that we can build together as a group, and it takes away all of those levels of self-criticism and editing. And who loves editing? Nobody. Instead, I can write a campaign, and I know I'm gonna have to throw out half of it as we go, and that's the fun in it. Also, the memes. Okay, finally.
20 seconds.
If you've been watching this, you see how much we've been laughing the whole time. How many inside jokes that just come pre-packaged with this game. It's hilarious. And it's one of those things that you can't understand quite how hilarious it is until you're in it, until you're submerged in this bizarre world and this crazy culture. And then you're the one being like, that demon ate my wombat. And your friends are going to laugh.
And that's time. Okay. But So chat, here's how this is going to work. And judges, who do you think articulated it better? Because at this point, this isn't even a debate. We both pretty much agree on the same things. But who did it better? Who sold you better on why you should play Dungeons and Dragons? That's pretty much the rubric for this one. So with that, who is the master debater of season 2, episode 7? You decide. Did JoCat win this, and is he going to be moving on to the finals, or did Gnome Ann win this? With that, it's time to vote. 3 minutes on the clock. Well,
Can I get like a
you can go watch the VOD. You can go watch the VOD.
Wow, no spark notes for me?
Nope.
Okay, fine.
Nope, no spark notes. This is it. So let's start. Let's go down. Let's go chaotic with this. Cinnabon. Oh, you're eating. Let's move it back. Nate takes. Who did it better?
Right. I think once again, you both did really well. I think Joe was a lot more fluid in what he wanted to say. But I think Joe did more slightly. He did more of a job as to explaining why he plays D&D, while No Man did more of a job explaining why I should play D&D. And it was very slight, but it was just like little verbs and little ways of how they said things every once in a while that I think is where I leaned with that. So my vote's going to go for No Man.
All right. Shrub. Who did it better?
So again, they both kind of said, almost the same thing in just in different ways. That being said, I feel like JoCat, yours was more of a description of the game and like something you'd read on the box if D&D came in a card, as a card game. Whereas I felt like Gnome was more, talking to somebody and trying to sway them to the highlights of it. So with that, I'm gonna have to go with Gnome, but they're both good explanations as to why somebody should play D&D for sure.
Okay. Commander, who did it better?
Yeah, this one was tough. I think you both made a lot of the same points, especially starting off. Both of you were basically like, our imagination's a muscle. We don't use it as much as adults, and this game is good for cultivating that feeling of being a kid again with other people. And I think that's one of the main reasons why we all love them. One of the points that Gnome said was, it's like White Claw for your soul. That made me laugh. I really like that. And then Joe, you mentioned real life skills, which I thought was really interesting and something that I hadn't really thought of, but I think is totally true. I think that D&D helps us break out of our comfort zone. Those of us that have a lot of anxiety and things like that, when we get to step into another character's shoes, someone else's shoes, and kind of express ourselves in a different way. I don't think there's any other game that lets you do that. I mean, I've played hundreds of hours of Skyrim and never felt as connected to a Skyrim character as I did to my worst, weakest, smallest D&D character that I played for one session. You know what I mean? It's a different feeling. It's a different kind of connection and a different kind of living. And I think that the person who really drove it for me was Joe, and specifically for a 10 or 15 second spot in his speech where he mentioned you can fly on the back of a dragon. You can ride a dragon with a little wink to the camera. You mentioned in that spot like 6 or 7 different scenarios that I know if I was a 13-year-old or, like a teenager or someone who is just like, I don't know, if I've never really tried this, I've seen other people do it, I feel like it would be like, wow, that's cool. I can't do that in a video game. I can't do that in Fortnite. I can't do that in like the games that I play with my friends. Maybe we should try out this thing that they're gushing about. And so I thought Joe really sold it there. So I'm going to go with Joe.
All right. One vote for JoCat. Professor Raptor Biscuit, who did it better?
While Joe was winning for me at first, Gnome hit a chord with me. Like literally the reason why I played. So, or not why I played, but how the game helped me personally. And so that's a story for another day, but Gnome gets it. There's a reason I have my eyes covered right now. So Gnome wins it.
All right,
just
Tail.
On sheer emotional value.
Tail.
Oh, it's tough because like I feel like JoCat would got me like being like, yeah, that's why I love D&D, but No Man made me like be like, this is why I'm proud to be a part of this and like the whole D&D community. At the same time, I feel like No Man's points kind of touched more on like how we enjoy like the escapism of the game as we're playing it, and JoCat brought up more of a point of like how it can make us grow as people outside of playing the game. Oh, it's a tough one, but I'm gonna go with Gnome.
All right, Cinnabon.
Forgot I was linked. Or not linked. Sorry, I was like copying a link. I was muted. So this was really tricky. I really liked how Joe like commented on like skills that you can like get motivated like doing things in like real life from D&D, like the cartography. That's so cool. And like as someone who struggles with motivation, especially with art, that like was really nice. Also, I had the comment on you could bang a hot demon person. I'm playing an Ultimate game right now, and it's just like that's pretty much it. And I'm like, yeah, hell yeah, do that in D&D. But Gnome's energy definitely like resonated more personally with me. I think like especially like with talking about like the friendships, because some of my closest friends on Twitch are in campaigns that I play, and I think that is something that won it for me, so I am going for Gnome. Speaking of one of my D&D friends, I visited her and she gave me a goodie bag of snacks. So nice.
All right. Well, with that and chat vote, going for No Man. Oh yeah, Shrub. Yeah, Shrub one. He said he. Yeah, okay. he said he went for No Man, but that's going to do it. No Man, congratulations. Oh. Very hard fought between both you and JoCat. No, you're kidding!
I rigged it all. It was all me.
No, I knew it. I should have known.
Oh, there it goes. You're back.
Oh, we're back. All right. Anyway, yeah. So my bitrate. Thank God we're like at the end of the show because my bitrate's tanking right now. But congratulations, No Man, between you and JoCat, a fantastic final round, one of the greatest final rounds you ever had here on the Master Debater. But No Man, you are the winner. You are the Master Debater of Season 2, Episode 7, Dungeons and Dragons Edition. Congratulations.